by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Millions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, say it again, Shali. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there. This week on Cold Reality Radio. Trump supposed to drain the swamp apparently is filling his administration with the swamp. More Russian propaganda, passing a bill targeting websites. First study on vaccinated versus unvaccinated children is pulled from the web. Congress authorizes Trump to arm Syrian rebels with man-pads. While you were distracted by the U.S. election, the Senate outlawed GMO labeling nationwide. The race to erase the fake news. And of course, degenerate scumbag Anthony Weiner's too broke to stay in sexual rehab. Just kill yourself, or someone take care of him. Worthless piece of fucking garbage. In the UK, outrage as school starts grading parents on how well they are supporting their children. Congress approves a measure for a crusade against fake news using Department of Defense funding. Researchers incorporate silicone into a living organism. Is this the building of a bridge between man and machine? Washington Post reporter spreads blacklist of independent journalist sites. That and more on this edition of Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. Sunday, December 4th, 2016 will be all but a horrific memory soon as we move into 2017 and whatever this sick, psychopathic, destructive, socially engineered world can offer us. It's going to get worse. It's going to become more and more apparent that we are living in an asylum of insanity. And of course, those who point that out and stress that that is happening will be labeled the insane ones. But isn't that the way it goes? Isn't that the way it goes, people? Can't seem to find the sounds that I want anymore, you know what I mean? Interesting. Can't change that, right? No, that's weird. Anyway. Can't get the sounds that I want anymore, folks. What's the deal with that? What's the deal? Crank it. Seems that the pod farm's just empty. The pod farm is empty. I have no tones. I gotta make my owns. And that's not working out so good. It's not working out so good, and there's no presets anymore. That's a fucking mess. It's a fucking nightmare. My program seems to have just kind of acquired some form of computerized dementia, because it's just dropped every fucking sound. But I knew this a while ago. They call it a pod farm because the animals don't live on it, but sounds, presets of different musicians and things. So we find ourselves, as I said, in early December. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrated it. And, I just find myself not really wanting so much to participate in the process anymore because, yes, I love my family and everything, but I just can't seem to stomach the breakdown, of the family. You've got, we hear it time and time again. We hear about, alcohol and how it destroys family, alcoholism, crazy name, huh? Alcoholism. We wouldn't even know what the fuck it is if we weren't, with the TV and all the destructive programming that we've gotten. What's alcoholism? People wouldn't even know. They would just be like, hi, we wouldn't even know what a family member was. Just imagine if it wasn't for TV or, any of these destructive universities, destructive television programs, the banks, and all the shit that's created this fiction that we've heard so much about. It makes entire sense. We've heard so much about it from Clint, this fiction that we're living in. Their creation, they do what they want with their creation, and their creation involves incredible societal engineering, programming, lies about everything, complete and total lies and deception about every aspect of our lives. Every aspect of our lives. So, if we didn't have this destructive program, we wouldn't even know what a family is. It'd be like, that's, what would we do? We would make up like, I was born, in a crossfire hurricane. What's a hurricane? What's weather? So anyway, like if we didn't know what alcoholism, we could want to make it's possible that maybe we would name one of our family members alcoholic. What's your last name? Alcoholic. First, Alfred. You can call me Al. Just call me alcoholic. The names that we give each other, Talk to a lot of people on the phone, and then, somebody said, well, what's your name? Oh, it's Diana. Hi. Oh, how do you spell that? Or Diane or something, right? And you're like, D-I, like you ask them, somebody's like, hi, my name's Joe Johnson. How do you spell your first name? J-O-E. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to ask because, I didn't want to misspell your name. It could be J-O-H. It could be, or Crystal or something could be, Chris, Chrostlyn or something. The names that, people have today, and it's like they don't want to stick to the, Chris, C-H, R-I-S. Maybe it's C-R-I-S or K-R-I-S or K-R-Y-S or C-R-Y-S. You never know. Just the names, the spelling of the names. I just didn't want to be just a regular Chris. I wanted to have my own, unique spin on things. But so back to the alcohol thing. It's tough to see, when you can go back 10, 15 years and you see someone who's, obviously, has a tendency to drink quite a bit. And then you see other aspects of, people's lives where they've had emergency situations where they've done something where they've put themselves in extreme danger where they could lose their life. And then, years later, you just see these people and they're just unhinged. They're just, they may get fired for something, for maybe drinking, or they might do something or whatever that is just, it's unacceptable in society. And, you can make a case for anything, right? Because anything now has some kind of rehab for it, right? People just can't, you get fired for being an alcoholic or something, or you just listen, we're not going to fire you. We're going to send you to, an AA thing or whatever. But the thing here is that, I and as imagine others have just gotten to a point in life where you just say, I can't view this anymore. I can't see this. I do not want to be around it. It saddens me, that type of thing. You just want to be separate from that. And, people don't even have to be alcoholics, or drug abusers. They could just be scarred mentally from events in their life. Something happens, abandonment, whatever the case might be. I recently, lost a pet, and it saddens me like every step down the road. I think I could have, but what did I do? What didn't I do to, prevent, 8 years old, lymphoma. And it's funny how, and not funny, like, gallows humor, how he didn't go downhill until, the flattering title known as the veterinarian decided to, clip into the lymph node. Not saying that, Jackson would have lived, but it didn't seem and we know that, the cancer has its way of protecting. The body has its way of protecting itself from cancer, and it happens in animals as well. When you dig into that, then what's inside escapes. And that's why they do the biopsies. That's why they do these things. Oh, we have to find out whether it's cancer. They know that it's going to, it could be spreading already because, cancer has these collagen digesting enzymes that, the way that it metastasizes is that it just, starts to break down collagen, eat through it. And that's why it's very essential to have, a lot of vitamin C, a lot of different amino acids and things like that create a lot of, collagen or emboldens the collagen so that cancer doesn't spread. That's why people can have cancer for a number of years and not until it really kind of, as the body begins to get more and more acidic. And then as the acid rejects oxygen, whereas alkaline absorbs it, we see that, that's why many people, older people, have cancer, or and I mean they truly have created a situation where it doesn't even, I would imagine the body does not even need to be acidic to create cancer or for a cancer to form a malignancy. With a lot of these kids with cancers and leukemias and blood cancers and things like that, you speak with, I've had Patrick Jordan on here. You've heard Patrick Jordan on with Clint any number of times, where and these are the things that people just can't get into their head. They can't understand that medically we are under attack, and that all of medicine, AMA, is a militarized attack against you and your family, and that these cancers that we're seeing in children, these children's hospitals, St. Jude's, there's a place called St. Jude's where people donate there, and then the parents don't pay anything. They rely on these donations for these children to be treated, and that's what you call creating markets off of disease. That gets created. You create disease, and then you create a market. Now, I'm not saying that the people that are working there know this, but at the core, you don't need to know it. All that you need is to have the opportunity to create a market for something. Oh, sickness, illness, Cancer Centers for America. You're seeing those now in certain areas in Texas and Philadelphia area. There's these cancer centers for, that. And then they start talking about, they start talking about more of the homeopathic, naturopathic approach to treating cancer, because they know that and not even it's just the system takes on a life of its own. You create the disease, and then the oscillation of marketing starts. Everything is a market. $377 to put a pet down and then provide the ashes to you. Because they care so much about your pet. Not that it wouldn't have been, I would not have gone for ashes or anything like that. But it was, it did get to the point where he was slowing down, and you knew that the very next step was going to be some kind of emergency situation where he was just like I'd seen before with another pet, where they just they hide, and then they moan and groan and make the death wails. Like they don't know why they're feeling like that, and I guess maybe that's lucky for them, because they're not aware of their own mortality. They're not aware that one day they're going to die in some way. They just don't know, obviously. And you can't convey that to an animal. We have, on some level, the unfortunate awareness that we are all going to pass in some way, shape, or form. And so that brings about an entirely new prospect of, why are we still dying from disease? Why are we still, you can understand if somebody gets hit by a bus, they're not going to live mostly. And if they do, they probably wish that, they hadn't, that type of thing. But for years now, we've been indoctrinated that we're just going to get old and we're just going to die. I was watching really pretty powerful comedy. It was a comedy, but it was kind of tragic at different times, because there is a lesson in it. Groundhog Day. The movie where the weather reporter guy, Bill Murray in this case, flattering title, actor, relives the same day over and over and over again. And I guess it's really kind of like a mirror image of all of our lives. Because we really truly are living the same day over and over and over again. We really truly are doing that. We're living the same day over and over again. And so in the movie, you'll see Bill Murray be like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. And then he hopes that if he just kills himself by, taking the toaster in the bathtub with him, that it's going to end, that it's going to stop, that this day over, that he wakes up, the alarm goes off, and he hears the same radio broadcast, and it's Groundhog Day. And he's like, what the fuck is happening? And then you see his transformation. You see his transformation in the movie, where he starts to take advantage of the fact that no matter what I do, tomorrow at 6, the day's going to start all over again. So he could drive his car off of a cliff, which he does, kills himself in a fucking with a toaster, winds up in jail, does any number of different things, times the whole thing so that the Brinks truck, he's like, gets over there, takes the money. And then he realizes that this is not a curse. This is not a curse. This is, I can really do things with this. Because he knows it's the same day happening over and over again. So then what does he do? He starts taking piano lessons. He starts being kind to people, stopping, helping, these 3 women who have a flat. He's, they're like, what's that? And he's there, like right on time. They're like, what's going on? He was like, no, I got it. They're like, oh my God. And there he is, changing their tire or, doing something for them. And he, gets to a point where he starts seeing this old homeless guy. And at one time he was just like, ugh, get away from me. Then he starts, it's cold. He gets the guy, he helps the guy in, gets him food. Old guy, dementia. And then the guy, he takes the guy to the hospital because, in that whole process, what he didn't see before, and then he actually started focusing on the old guy. And then he goes to the hospital, takes him there, and then the woman says, oh, I'm sorry, he passed away. And then in the next scene, you see him trying to resuscitate the guy. Because he knows that's it. He knows that's it for the guy. So he turns his life around, his image, his world view, if you will. He even kidnaps the groundhog in hopes that the day would end if he killed the groundhog. But that doesn't work. But he changes his view. He gets out there. He starts treating his coworkers with respect. They didn't like him much. He finds out all these different things about Andie MacDowell, the lovely and just really lovely Andie MacDowell. I think you guys know who she is. And so, he's trying to make time with her. He's trying to figure out ways. He finds all these little tidbits of information. She likes poetry. She likes this. He learns the poetry. He starts reciting it back. And then she realizes that she's being played by him. And then there's a number of scenes where she's just smacking him in the fucking face, like just fucking wrecking him. And then he figures out, and then he tells her, he's like, I'm reliving the same day over and over again. And then eventually he falls in love with her. And then and only then does his life move on. He wakes up. He's like, notices things are different. He sees he's laying there, and then her arm goes over top of him to shut the alarm, and not the same broadcast. And then he realizes that, he doesn't have to relive the same day over and over again. And that, and I saw the movie any number of times, and I was just thinking to myself, it doesn't really hit you, a lot of these messages, a lot of these things that they put into these movies, until you get to a place in time like we are now, listening to lyrics of songs, and it really all starts to make sense. It really all starts to the dots get connected. I went to see a Rush tribute band on Friday night. I've always been a fan of that group, and really understood that this union between these three was pretty special, because they're 40 years plus now just making music, creating, and then you hear, and I guess it takes you to hear another band do it or do a song, and then you really kind of understand, and it becomes more apparent, clearer, and you hear lines like, "A planet of playthings, we dance on the strings of powers we cannot perceive." And that's very powerful, because we are a planet of playthings. We are play toys for this system. And we dance on the strings of these powers that we either see or we don't see. And even if we do, we cannot perceive, we cannot understand that we are just playthings, which then goes into a show that I've been watching or programming, Westworld, where these, and spoiler alert, I don't know that these people weren't human at one time and then turned into some, with this transhumanism, but this self-awareness that brings them to the, spoiler alert, for the next minute. I'll give you some time to turn the sound down for about a minute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'll add in some seconds for the delay. I believe that these people that are the hosts, or the what I believe to be transhuman, I believe that these people were actually human at one point, and they were, brain chipped or something. But they're starting to remember, they're starting to believe that, and understand that they've been manipulated. They're murdered by the guests that pay $40,000 a day to go to this park, it's like, Jurassic Park or Great Adventure or any one of these, like a water park, but it's like $40,000 to get in there. And they go in there and they shoot and kill and they do all kinds, whatever they want to do, depending on whatever their experience is. But then these people pick up on it, or these hosts are picking up on it, that they are being manipulated in some way. So that's why I don't believe that they're. I think some of them are human and then transformed into some kind of cyber, this transhumanism. And some of the other ones are just, different, because you don't see inside their face. As a matter of fact, on Sci-Fi, they're playing the original Westworld with Yul Brynner. So I hadn't seen it in years, and I was talking with someone about it, and I said, where the fuck is that movie? Because it's never on, and it's totally a movie that you would think would be on any one of these fucking networks of science fiction, but not until the program, the HBO program, made its 8 going on 9 weeks. I think maybe, is there one episode or maybe two? I want to say maybe one left, possibly two. But then and only then the movie makes a comeback. And of course it was on like from 4 to 6 o'clock in the morning, so I don't even know if it was on earlier. Usually when it's on at 4 to 6 a.m. or something, it's on earlier in the day. But a lot of people in that. Who the heck? Richard Benjamin, comedian. I didn't really buy, him in a serious role. The original guy who was in The $6 Million Man, who played Rudy Wells, the transhumanist, that turned Austin into the $6 Million Man. And then they went and somebody else, they brought somebody else in, but I think he was the original one. But he was in there, and he was one of the guys that was one of the humanist specialists or whatever that, and of course then all the programming and everything went awry. And then the hosts started getting killed by the guests started to get killed and slaughtered by the hosts. We've got to do something about this. Something must be done. So, we really are, in a sense, we really are living the same day over and over again. Whereas the elite are playing with their playthings, injecting us with cancer-causing agents, studying how to destroy the human immune system with vaccines, learn what actually protects the body, the prions that protect the body from the invader, and then inject infectious proteins from animals in there, and then that fucks with the immune process. Like Clint says, the cell phone call that goes out at one time, it's working. Hey, we got a situation over here, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're on it. Boom, go there, do the job, clean up the fucking shaft and shit, and then the lymphatic system, you piss it out, you crap it out, you whatever. But again, they figured out ways to usurp and destroy the immune system response so that that call doesn't go out, or it goes out too late, or it, this is just what they do. They've created disease, and people just can't even, I say it all the time. And people will sit there and be like, that's just, and then of course, then they sit there and they believe that if you get cancer, that you're genetically you're a misfit, and it's just the way that survival of the fittest, the ones with the best genes, or that thing that you heard on the InfoWars, where the guy says these kids just come from a bad set of genes, bad gene pool. I don't know if there's a bad gene pool. Carrot Top, is obviously got some interesting genetic things going on there. But as Clint said, there was never any cancer in animals up until, the turn of the century or something like that. But they'll have us believe through the media that, disease has always been there, from the bubonic plague to the smallpox and all this other shit. And then, of course, the mothership of all deceptions, polio, and the polio vaccine. That we've been lied to, Salk and Jonas Salk and all these other just absolutely reprehensible pieces of shit that should have died in their fucking cribs. Just the repeaters, just absolute repeaters. We are biological androids. We are the host. They are the parasite. It happens no other way. And we sit here and we believe this shit, and it gets worse and worse every generation that goes by. I mean, I had a coworker who got a flu shot, and then at some point, gleefully, I like this guy. I mean, you know what I mean? I like everybody that I work with. I do. I think they're incredible people. They seem to like the Lama. And it's very, when you see them, just rolling their sleeves up and believing in a system, believing in a medical system that is pretty much the cause of most disease. They go in, they get the shot, and then maybe a week later or something, you hear, and then I hear this explanation of how, I just felt bad. I was just like, I was scared about how I was feeling, what I was experiencing. I was afraid to drive home. I was this, I was that. Like, what the fuck was it? He's like, I don't know. I can guarantee you it was the shot. Guarantee you it was the fucking shot. This is a young guy, like 23, 24 years old. And we're far, far too trustworthy. I mean, we put far too much trust in this fictional system. They don't care about you. They're experimenting on you, and they're making money off of you. And it's just, just letting it happen. You're letting them do that. You're letting them do it. And if they don't get the ones that understand that it's wrong, that it's bad, they'll figure out other ways to get you. They'll figure out other ways to get you. And And it's becoming pretty obvious now to a lot of people that that they will fucking kill you. If they don't kill you with their lies about medicine and disease and what you need to do to make sure that you don't get this disease or that disease or meningitis or this or that, and then all the other, the lupus and all these other autoimmune diseases that where they shoot fucking chemicals into you. The Gulf War syndrome, that was autoimmune disease from vaccines that had what the fuck is it? Just some kind of I forget what it is, but it's some kind of substance that mimics, and that's the way they always do it. A substance that they find that mimics something in our bodies that causes the body to not only attack that substance, but also attack in your own body the same substance, and then it just destroys you or causes lupus or it causes rheumatoid arthritis or some kind of fucking thing. And I mean, it's just watch Clint's documentary Lethal Injection on YouTube. It's out there. Watch it, share it. This is Westworld. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. And of course, all of the things that Donald J. Trump, well, not all of them, but we'll find soon that he's completely full of shit. Goldman Sachs, Donald Trump Pentagon pick Mattis made nearly 100, $1 million on Board of Defense contractors. We've got again in the farewell address, President Eisenhower warned that for security and liberty to prosper together, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. 5 years later, a new president is planning, 55 years later, a new president is planning to have his Pentagon run by a top official at one of the world's largest defense contractors. President-elect Donald Trump announced Thursday that he will appoint retired General James Mattis as United States Secretary of Defense. Not only would Mattis be the first general to hold the traditionally civilian position, he would move into the job directly from his position helping to run General Dynamics, a $30 billion colossus that heavily relies on Pentagon contracts overseen by the Defense Secretary. Okay, so we have, you got the angel on the right shoulder and the devil on the other, and if people don't understand, they're going to believe that this is going to create more jobs. And it will. But how much money do we spend on defense? And we really don't need all that defense, because if Donald Trump says that he knows more about these, is than most generals, then he would understand that is a proxy army that is created to destabilize the Middle East and, of course, the rest of the world, the enemy within and outside. Okay, so that is pretty disturbing there. But it's to to the regular commoner that doesn't understand things, it's going to be seen as a possible win. And of course, Goldman Sachs is also involved in his administration. So that's the swamp. That's the swamp right there. Jill Stein drops Pennsylvania recount because her campaign cannot pay $1 million bond despite raising nearly $7 million. This is just a way to recoup money. I mean, I'm sure there's other things that are in there, but Jill Stein said she will seek help from the federal courts as she continues her push for a recount in Pennsylvania. The Green Party candidate said she will ask for a green. Yeah, that's why she's a Green Party candidate. Give me your money. I need to get green, or not mean. She will ask for an emergency court order on Monday to spark the count, hours after she dropped the case in the state courts when a judge demanded she pay an extra $100 million. So this is really just, Jill Stein is working for Team Clinton. There's no doubt in my mind that these people were in place to try to steer. And honestly, honest to God, if Hillary Clinton got in there, things would just kind of continue the way that they have with this jackass Barack Obama, cousin to George Washington, related to Dick Cheney, related to the Bush family, and chosen many, many years ago to become the president at this time, just like Bill Clinton was. And of course, he would tell all of the women that he molested and or raped and or violently attacked that he was going to be president one day. It's because, he's a Rockefeller and he's a bastard by, standards that have been set, without your daddy. Okay. And of course, Barack Obama lies about his father. Dreams of my father. Shut the fuck up, you skinny bag of shit. But of course, we're going to hear from you forever because you fooled, duped, and flim-flammed millions of fucking people that you're some benevolent God, and shame on them for fucking looking to a lying fucking politician as a leader. Shame on any of us who ever put any trust into a politician, because they are all fucking liars and they are all part of the destruction of humanity, or manatee, or man. And that includes the woe man, the woe mans. These people are the worst fucking form of life, and they are put in power by what worse form of life? The parasitical elite families that are jacking the fucking shit out of us all. So you've got your Jill Stein, Jill Franken-fucking-Stein. Once you count how many fucking brain cells you got, you stinking fucking bastards. She's awful. Oh, Jill Stein. Jill Stein. Jill Stein. It's just so frustrating to watch people destroy themselves with their own minds. What do we got here? American experts, prop or not is propaganda. An anonymous website, Prop or Not, claims they have analyzed alternative media websites and identified 200 sites which act as useful idiots for the Russian government propaganda. The Washington Post and many other mainstream media have trumpeted Prop or Not as evidence of a vast conspiracy. Now, they get to create their conspiracy theories about how Russia is the reason why Trump, who's apparently draining the swamp right into his own personal swamp, got him elected. Okay, so again, the Post and many other mainstream media have trumpeted Prop or Not as evidence of the vast conspiracy of American and foreign alternative media as spreading Russian propaganda, paving the way for what World War III, which is already started, is already underway. Online activists will spend 10 years in jail for spreading false news. A Kuwaiti online activist will spend 10 years in jail. An appeals court has ruled for posting messages on Twitter that insulted the emir and spreading false news that endangered the country. The court on Thursday confirmed the jail term against Walid Fares, handed down by a lower court in May. AFP reported. Let's see here. So this is all against the law, by the way. Everything you're hearing now and everything that is in opposition to ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, it's all illegal now to even talk about it. So welcome to the Orwellian world. Obama TV. Is Obama planning a fake news outlet of his own? Is that what he done? Zero Hedge, of course, was one of the fake news sites. What do we got here? Here we go. Let's listen to this fucking jackass piece of shit.
The president is weighing in on a story we've been following this week, fake news that popped up on social media during the election season and may have influenced some voters.
Fake news is such big news. President Obama weighed in Thursday.
There's so much active misinformation, and it's packaged very well, and it looks the same when you see it on a Facebook page or you turn on your television.
Obama, when I was with him on the campaign, he and his political director were obsessed about an article that came out in BuzzFeed about a town in Macedonia, former part of Yugoslavia, in one town where they were producing, just a small group of guys, producing over 100 pro-Trump websites that were filled with fake stories, completely fake.
So he's concerned about a media where you can't tell fact from fiction.
You can't penetrate it. If you create a media universe for yourself where you're inhaling fake news, you're not going anywhere near the New Yorker, the New York Times, or CBS Morning.
So the fake news, the real fake news, is now calling out and screaming fake news, as we know. And then this fucking jackass piece of shit, as he was blowing Obama on the, and when he was in the presence of this so-called great man, just unbelievable. After spending the past month blaming Hillary's loss on the rampant spread of fake news because choosing a failed candidate subject to numerous active federal criminal investigations and or Obama's failed policies couldn't possibly be to blame. We got here. Mike.com is reporting that Obama is contemplating starting a propaganda machine media company of his own after leaving the White House. Yeah, we got to keep you around as the herpes man. President Barack Obama has been discussing a post-presidential career in digital media and is considering launching his own media company, according to multiple sources who spoke on background because they were not authorized to speak for the president. Obama considers media to be a central focus of his next chapter. And of course, it was the fake news that kept all of your just absolute destructive murder, drone killings, just incredible amounts of damage done to the human family across the world. And then, of course, your fake feud with Netanyahu and all this other bullshit. Obama has gone so far as to discuss launching his own media company, according to one source with knowledge of the matter, although he has reportedly cooled on the idea as of late. According to another source, Obama met privately with Facebook CEO and co-founder Mark Douchebagberg in Lima, Peru, on the sidelines of the recent APEC summit to discuss the matter. How about fecal matter discussing a matter? While Obama has been on a crusade against fake news of late, we're not exactly sure how adding yet another MSNBC substitute to the media arm of the Democratic Party will change anything in a meaningful way. While Obama continues to rethink his storytelling, he and other Democrats simply continue to prove that they've learned absolutely nothing from the 2016 election. The entire election was a rejection of storytelling in favor of action. I believe that Trump was supposed to win. It is the choice that is going to make people the most. It's the most beneficial choice to bring about the chaos and then the order. Because if Hillary got in there, you'd have a bunch of really, really pissed off, disappointed conservatives, Republicans, but they wouldn't be doing the same shit that these fucking maggots that you saw in the streets, burning shit, flipping cars, just overall destroying in their butthurt fucking way. And of course, Obama being on Rolling Stone magazine and other publications, other global publications, that keep on pushing this just fakeness, this absolute fakeness. Obama is a failure. He is not a good person. He is not presidential. He is nothing. He is only something if you believe that he is. And most people didn't even need to know who he was, because we've been so socially engineered that back in 2008, after George W. Bush, relative of, the royal family and many, many other European, dominators of and destroyers of many commoners. All right. After 8 years of George W. Bush, they never said the things about George W. Bush that they're saying now about Donald Trump. Now, last night on SNL, you'll get, and I'm not, and I don't fucking care if I thought that he was, a savior, which I don't, I would say it. I say whatever the fuck I want to say. And, Donald Trump is a member of these family bloodlines. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. He is part of this ruling class. So with his selection, this is going to cause the most chaos. Last night on SNL, they did this thing where the one guy says they're cutting on it in the audience, but it's like one of these things, this liberal fucking rants things that they do as like a presentation. And the one guy said they line up, and the one guy says, "This way, Jews," and the one woman standing in the line says, "Do we really have to do that?" And then the one other comedian lady says, "Yeah, these are the rules of the Holocaust." All right. So, and then they're like, "What year is it?" And it's like 2017, and and it was just like, I don't know if you've seen it. It's probably, you can find it online if you search. They pretty much have all of the things that they do there, and a lot of it was anti-Trump. A lot of the news that they do, the fake news that they do on there, and the fake news that guys like Jon Stewart or Mr. Leibowitz did on the Daily Show, okay, making light and laughter out of tragedies, and covering up for this destructive political system. And then when there's not a Democrat in there, they'll attack George W. Bush, rightfully so, but say and tell the truth. They don't tell the truth. We know they don't tell the truth. They lie and lie and lie. And they get their directives and their documentation to lie to the commoners, to lie to the subjects, to keep everybody in their geopolitical groups, their mindsets, keep them collectivized in their mindsets to hate the conservatives or the Republicans, or on the other side to hate the liberals. I really truly believe that if they wanted Hillary to be in there, that she would have won. And how do you continue to keep the hatred and the butthurt crybabies and Trotskyites, ready for action? Get Jill Stein to go out there and raise money for recounts. Get her out there so that you'll give a hope to some of these Trotskyite, Leninite pieces of shit. And so when it all falls through, they'll have even further reason to destroy the cities and flip cars and, love Trump's hate and all of this other shit. And that with the young women saying, there will be bloodshed. Yeah, there is, but it's going to be for a different reason than you think. And you're a useless idiot, useless eater, a useful idiot that is going to, that is socially engineered and programmed to be part of your own fucking demise, you stupid fucking jackasses. So, I happen to think that, Paul Joseph Watson does his job very well. I think that he totally could break away from, at this point, he could totally break away from InfoWars and he would still be very, very relevant. And he would probably get, the same amount, if not, and he would get enough. Let's put it that way. I don't know that he would ever do that. He seems pretty content to just kind of like be. You can't say that he's an InfoWars lackey, but at the same time, it's like if I think that if he really could point out some things, he would, if he wasn't under the umbrella of the Jones Report. But you'll see if you listen to guys like Gerald Celente on other programs. If you listen to him on, say, Jeff Rentz's program, you'll hear him say things that he cannot even begin to say when he's on, with Jones or David Knight or some of these other folks and platforms there. He really opens up. If you listen to Gerald Celente on, say, Jeff Rentz or some of these other ones, where they actually kind of point out the destructive groups and ideologies that are behind a lot of, are behind a lot of the, let's call it the Russian the new Russian Revolution, or the cloned Russian Revolution. Okay, which was backed by the Vatican and all of these there's the Jesuit orders, and of course the Khazarian mafia that poses as the biblical chosen ones. And so so there's that. Look forward to Obama and his real news outlet after he it feeds off of, drinks the blood and chews from the carcass of the he is the people. We're not the people. He is the people. He is of the posterity of the actual people. And believe me, we're not the people. And Clinton has pointed that out and educated us many, many times on who we really are. And we are just commoners. And they, and they rule and dominate over us while they make us think that we are the people and in control, when we're totally not, man. Let's see here. And of course we've got with all of the distractions of the election, all of the just outright dehumanizing that went on. We have on November 30th, 1 week after the Washington Post launched its witch hunt against Russian propaganda fake news, with 390 votes for, the House quietly passed H.R. 6393, Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2017, sponsored by California Republican Devin Nunes, whose third largest donor in 2016 is Google parent Alphabet Inc. Okay, so look that up, Google parent Alphabet Inc. Let me right click on that. Don't open it, like not there. A bill which number of intelligence related issues, including Russian propaganda, or what the government calls propaganda, and hints at a potential crackdown on offenders. A quick skim of the bill reveals Title V, matters relating foreign countries, whose Section 501 calls for the government to counter active measures by Russia to exert covert influence carried out in coordination with or at the behest of political leaders of the secure services of the Russian Federation, and the role of the Russian Federation has been hidden or acknowledged publicly. Okay, so now if Trump, if he means well at all, which I don't even really know that he does, because I'm not fucking gullible, if he even tries to reach out if he even tries to reach out to Putin and visit them and talk, he is in direct opposition to this act and could possibly be impeached or something. So just keep an eye on that, because they could try to impeach him for anything at all. And then, of course, that's going to create hope for the Trotskyites. And then when it falls through, so it really is just going to be like waves and waves of despair and hope and despair and hope and despair and hope for these maggot Trotskyite just birth defects. And what's going to happen is you're just going to have like a fucking volcano, and the lava, it will be, will be running from the fucking diarrhea asses of these disgusting maggots. You have to listen. You have to think, though. These people, not only are their futures being stolen from them, these young people, if any of them are legitimate, because I really honestly think that anyone out there who was disappointed in that Hillary didn't get that. There's large portions of these people that just sit at home and were just like, well, it just didn't happen. And, but what you will see is, and it will be exacerbated through the media and things like that to a certain extent, is that, the riots and the things like that are funded by, the system. And you could say Soros, whatever it is, that wherever you think that the money's coming from. But, this is, the Communist Manifesto. So they've got the money. They've created the money system. They tell you what money is. If they wanted guitar picks to be the new currency, that's what people would start using. They'd have pockets full of guitar picks. So it really truly is again, now the sections list the following definitions of media manipulation: establishment or funding of a front group, which they fucking do all the time. And then, of course, you got covert broadcasting, media manipulation, disinformation and forgeries, funding agents of influence, incitement to offensive counterintelligence, assassinations, and terrorist acts. So everything that the current system now is, the actual fake news, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, Fox News, and all these other different outlets here, they are, they're saying you are not allowed to do the things that we've done all of this time. Everything that we've done to manipulate and destroy you and program you and socially engineer you and cornhole you and collectivize you and make you think that you're something that you're not, and make you think that you're a liberal, and make you think you're a conservative or a Democrat or a Republican. Now you can't do any of that, because now we say that what we've done, and we're going to continue to do it because we're the real news. You can't do that anymore. As Activist Post correctly notes, it is easy to see how this law, if passed by the Senate and signed by the president, could be used to target, threaten, or eliminate so-called fake news websites. A list which has been used arbitrarily defined to arbitrarily define any website or blog that does not share the mainstream media's proclivity to serve as the public relations arm of a given administration. Curiously, the bill which was passed on November 30th was introduced on November 22nd, 2 days before the Washington Post published its November 24th article citing experts who claim Russian propaganda helped Donald Trump get elected. As we reported last week, or was reported last week, in an article that has been widely blasted, the Washington Post wrote that 2 teams of independent researchers found that the Russians exploited American-made technology platforms to attack U.S. democracy at particularly vulnerable moments. As an insurgent candidate, harnessed a wide range of grievances to claim the White House. So the sophistication of the Russian tactics may complicate efforts by Facebook and Google to crack down on the fake news, as they have vowed to do after widespread complaints about the problem. So, and then of course the propaganda or not, or propornot.com. Check that out. Go there and see how they're manipulating the entire system now. What do we got? Top 20 contributors to campaign committee. Pioneer Nursery, Emerson Electric, General Atomics, Home Depot, Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance, McKesson Corp, blah, 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 Oak Tree Capital Management, blah, 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 UPS, Amgen, Morgan Stanley, AES, the National Beer Wholesalers Association. Representative Devin Nunes has reported a total of 569 contributions, $200 or more, totaling $626,000 or $627,000 in the current cycle. Of course, that's from OpenSecret.org, and of course, Devin Nunes was the one who sponsored the HR 6393. First study on vaccinated versus unvaccinated children pulled from the web. Christina Sarich brought this article to the web. The results of the first ever study comparing the health of vaccinated versus unvaccinated children is out, and they are already causing controversy. For many hundreds of thousands of families that have already been injured by vaccines, the results won't be surprising. But to many others, the findings might be a little shocking. This is possibly why the scientific journal, which originally published the results, withdrew the study from publication. The abstracts of the study was published online in Frontiers in Public Health after being accepted November 2nd. The study compares children's health via surveys of mothers who homeschooled their children age 6 to 12 years of age. Nearly 40% of the children had never been vaccinated, so the control group was adequate to do a good comparison against children who had been vaccinated. After heavy criticism from the public and scientific community due to the results of the study, though, it was retracted. Why? Those that were vaccinated were 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism or the distractive autistic spectrum disorder. The abstract specifically stated a total of 415 mothers provided data on 666 children. There's a weird number, of which 26 or 39% were unvaccinated. Vaccinated children were significantly less likely than the unvaccinated to have been diagnosed with chickenpox and pertussis, but significantly more likely to have been diagnosed with pneumonia, otitis media, allergies, and NDDs, defined as autistic or autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and or a learning disability. All right. So a study further concluded in the study, based on mothers' reports, the vaccinated had a higher rate of allergies and what was that NDD again? Autism spectrum disorder than the unvaccinated. Vaccinations but not preterm birth, remain significantly associated with autistic spectrum after controlling for other factors. However, preterm birth combined with vaccination was associated with an apparent synergistic increase in the odds of autistic spectrum disorder, or ASD. Further research involving larger independent samples is needed to verify and understand that these unexpected findings in order to optimize the impact of vaccines on children's health. The initial backlash was significant. Public comments included, "This study is of poor design, though not impossible results. Study relies of self-report of moms inducing bias." So that it's fake. It's fake information and not competent and or doesn't hold water. And another garbage vaccine study in Frontiers Journal, scientists stopped reviewing and publishing there, is what they would say. Science blogs also quickly posted an article titled "Anti-Vaccinationists," say that a million fucking times, "promote a bogus internet survey. Hilarity ensues as it's retracted." And most people will look at that and just say, "Oh, those fucking non-vaxxers, they're going to kill us all." When the paper was pulled, the publishers were also accused of not following a proper retraction process, right? Though the journal isn't the first to pull a vaccine paper amid a public criticism. In February, Vaccine temporarily removed, then soon retracted, a paper linking the vaccine for human papillomavirus to behavioral problems in mice. A modified version of the paper was later republished. The retraction is suspect considering how quickly the paper was pulled. When the publishers were asked why this happened, they simply responded the paper was submitted for review but had not been approved. Okay, see, they know that. And you've got guys like Rob Schneider, and you've got even I'm going to punch Donald Trump in the face, De Niro, coming out saying that he believes that his son, who has autism, some people are saying that that Donald Trump's son, is it Barron, the child that the boy that he had with his Slovakian wife, Malovina, I don't know, that he possibly has some form of autism. So, so the rest of the article is over there at blacklistednews.com, Doug Owens, blacklistednews.com. And of course, they're going to pull the information there, because if people realized how badly that they've been altered and fucking disease is being induced into the body by these vaccines, whether it be flu shots or HPV shot or hepatitis or what fucking ever, there would be, you want to see riots? Maybe. But you can't make people think. You can't make them fucking understand. They just go along to get along. The thumb sucker society. The thumb suckers. Now, I'm not saying that at one point, what is this here? That, I didn't fall for some of these same things, but overall, I pretty much knew what my path was, because I was never part of the collective, never wanted to be part of the collective. And I might even have been rejected if I said, "Listen, I want to be part of this collective thing." What do you think? Please let me be part of the collective. Please let me be part of the collective. I want to not have to think for myself. I don't want to have to think for myself because it hurts. It hurts to think. It hurts to think, man. When you got media and Barack Obama, I want a president who I can look up to, not one that makes fun of people with disabilities. Really? Really? You're looking for a fucking politician. And of course, there were a lot of these commercials on there where this kid, this young boy had spinal disorder or something, and then so they put him on there. So that's just another thing that's going to feed to the destabilization, feed into the destabilization of America, of their creation as they bring it down, as the new Rome falls. Congress authorizes Trump to arm Syrian rebels with man-pads. The House voted for the first time to explicitly authorize the incoming Donald Trump administration to arm vetted Syrian rebels with anti-aircraft missiles, while the language in the annual defense bill also creates restrictions on the provision of the controversial weapons. It represents a win for the Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman John McCain, a fervent advocate of helping the rebels or funding terrorism, the president to resist Assad and his Russian and Iranian allies. The Senate is expected to pass the bill next week. So, I mean, when you look at him Trump not wanting to go to war with Russia, you also have to look at him and him talking about the Iran deal. Why was that passed? Why did they do that? I really truly believe that Obama and Netanyahu and the Likudniks and all of these, by these baby killers, are on the same page. No matter how much that the media, portrays something different, they are on the same page. And if Trump is on the same page with that gaggle of scum and baby killing filth, then we're going to get pretty much the conservative version of Barack Obama, right? So it's all bullshit and it's bad for you. While you were distracted by the U.S. election, the Senate outlawed the GMO labeling nationwide. While attention was diverted to the U.S. election for much of this year, the Senate quietly made null and void state laws that require that GMO foods be labeled. Now, if you've listened to Clint, there is no secession, there is no state or subcorporation that will go against the United States corporation. So this is all just to make it look like there's some kind of dissension between the states and the federal government, and that just has never existed. And if it ever did, then it was it was crushed with a fucking boot with a spike in it a long time ago. So this GMO foods being labeled will not happen in any of these states. Genetically modified organisms are a concern for a number of reasons. When consumed, GMOs have been shown to cause gastrointestinal problems, increase cancer risk, and even silence human genes, right? So, turn off those genetic switches that Patrick and Clint talked about in great detail on many of their podcasts together. Not to mention the harmful effects of the environment and endangered species such as bees. Within the U.S., there is also a dearth of safety testing, as most tests that show that GMOs are safe are short-term studies lasting only a matter of months. So they got that through too. Yeah. I think we've all heard about the fire that broke out at this Oakland warehouse party. 13 missing, 9 killed. I think it's like 40 dead now. Student suspects arrested in fatal stabbing of USC professor on campus. I'm not going to read that one. The race to fake the fake news. Scumbag Anthony Weiner broke to stay in sexual rehab. Just a vile scumbag, if there ever was one, and dying in his crib would have made the world a brighter place. UK outrage as school starts grading parents on how well they're supporting their kids. Adults are marked A to D based on how they are supporting their kids, and even get called into the headmistress's office if they are falling behind. Greasley View Vale Primary School in Nottinghamshire say the controversial move has helped to push up educational standards, but some furious parents have slammed the concept as ludicrous and said teachers should be focusing on their children instead of judging them. Congress approves measures for a crusade against the fake news using DoD funding. You can find out more over there on Blacklisted News. Of course, they're going to fund that after passing it, that bill, HR 63 blah, 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 blah. HR go fuck yourself, critical thinking people. You're going to get our fake news. You're not going to get somebody else's real news. We're going to make the rules. We're going to lay the groundwork for your demise, mental and physical. Researchers incorporate silicon into a living organism. Is this the building of a bridge between man and machine? Silicon is the second most common element in the Earth's crust after oxygen. However, aside from its non-organic use by certain sea sponges and microorganisms, very little silicone is used by Earth's biology, despite making heavy use of other elements such as carbon, hydrogen, iron, magnesium, and oxygen. So we're seeing more and more of this just raping of the world, its resources, the life on this planet, the molestation of beaches, from sand wars to from vaccines to turn off and turn on molecular switches to create diseases and all kinds of things that destroy life and basically nature, which is God. God created the heaven and the earth, and a little bit of him, or a lot of him or her, is in nature. So you could say that, God is nature, but they're just raping everything. They're destroying the skies. They're destroying the soil. They're destroying the air, making it toxic. The food with GMOs, in understanding GMO technology, and of course the nanotech and all the other stuff that everybody we joke about nanotech all the time, but it's out there and it's crawling around in your ass and crawling around all over you, probably crawling in your ears and in your in your boogers and all kinds of nasty things that anything that they can think of to destroy and rape and usurp life is what these disgusting, vile maggots have done. Yes. Did I go backwards? I think I might have gone backwards here. Let go backwards. And of course, now I cannot scroll because the page does not this is fucking, what a fucking nightmare. Pretty soon, there will be previous 20 articles. I don't want the previous 20. I want, or maybe I do. Maybe I do. I can't even scroll here anymore. Of course, there is the Virginia schools ban To Kill a Mockingbird and Huckleberry Finn for racial slurs. The UK military will use artificially intelligent lasers to expand Britain's economic empire. Russia, U.S., and China are prepping for an all-out space war. Steve Bannon, which a lot of people are saying that Breitbart is a Mossad front. As Bannon says, joining Goldman Sachs is like joining the Jesuits. You must be living in opposite day. It's all Kissinger and Brzezinski to be honored by Nobel Institute and Oslo University. Two fucking baby killers. Let's honor them. Cool. It's just such nice boys. It's just such good influence on all of our leaders. It's a fucking mess, folks. Well, you could say that they're going to be successful in making everyone believe that that they are not the fake news and that everything else that is in opposition to, Charlie Rose and Good Morning America and all of these other shills and hacks that get looked at as heroes, the flattering titles, that you could say that they're going to win this thing, or they're going to prevail over. Or it could be that people are seeing that there is absolutely no legitimacy to these networks, as they were somewhat exposed in the run-up, the Hillary run-up. NBC. Stop NBC. Stop NBC. Stop them. Stop Charlie Rose. Stop Charlie Rose. CBS.
Try to stop them? Don't put that on your wish list. That's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum. Some perform Shakana on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary. For the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran. Let your